Well, for more about preparations ahead of the rescheduled elections, joining us on the News at 10 is Channels Television's data analyst, Babajide Ogunsowo. Good to have you on the News at 10.
Well, listen, for me, it's always great to be here.
All right. Now, I mean, looking at the way things have played out since Saturday, can we accurately determine what the rescheduling of elections will cost all the stakeholders now?
No, it's going to be extremely difficult to accurately discuss on what this cost will be. Yes, we can estimate it, but I'd like to start from a slightly different perspective, and that's because over 4 decades ago, popular Afrobeat musician Fela Kuti released a hit single in 1975. It was called Confusion. Now, I'm not going to attempt to sing it to you, but he said, Confusion na waiting. Confusion na wa. And so yesterday, Nawa were the words on the lips of most Nigerians. Nawa. Well, I have a slightly different take on the elections. I think elections held yesterday, let me make myself very clear. The elections occurred between violence and peace. And so today, if you look at the results of the election that held yesterday between violence and peace, you will find out that peace won. And so, though we might have over 20 million unemployed Nigerians looking for a job, each of these men and women have a PhD in patience. Though we might have millions of farmers in the rural areas, people say they are illiterate and uneducated. These millions of farmers are master degree holders in calmness. And so, elections held yesterday, and they were won by peace. Now, here's why I'm confident about what will happen this Saturday, and why I'm not really bothered about who will win, because this Saturday, the elections will be between peace and more peace. So don't be bothered about this Saturday. We should be concerned more about our hopes than our fears. Now let's talk about the cost. There are 3 areas that we can really focus on. The first is, let's look at the cost of confidence. And by cost of confidence, we can measure that by voter apathy. Will voters still come out on Saturday? Now, if we look at the trends, especially from 2007, we see that the number of eligible Nigerians who are participating in elections has been declining. 2015, only 1 out of 3 eligible Nigerians voted. Now, that should be a cause of concern for the legitimacy of our democracy. We need to consider that, especially if you look at what the transportation cost will be next week Saturday, in fact, next week Friday. And the research we have, especially if you're coming from Abuja down to Lagos and you're going by any of the popular transport operators, the average cost of that travel trip from Abuja to Lagos, 8,000 naira. If you're going from Lagos to Kaduna, 8,000 naira. If you're going by road, if you're going from Lagos to Port Harcourt to Aba, 7,000 naira. In other words, your trip to and fro, if you're a low-income earner, could cost you as much as half of your salary. And so my prediction is there might be voter apathy coming this Saturday. So that is looking at the cost of confidence. I think confidence has taken a blow to the chest. Now, the second cost, which we need to talk about, is the cost to international reputation. Listen to this. The National Bureau of Statistics just released the information on how much capital came into the nation last year. They say approximately $17 billion. Now, the trick is only 2 countries accounted for more than half of all capital that came into the nation last year, the UK and the US. And so in simple terms, we should ask ourselves and remember that money does not follow uncertainty. And so if there's a perception of uncertainty in the nation, then that could also affect how much capital comes in. And finally, let's look at the domestic cost. Cost to blue-collar workers especially, because the elections were meant to happen on a Saturday. Right. A lot of salons, markets, transport operators were shut down. And so there were significant costs. But now let's look at what will happen in the next 7 days, because there's still growing uncertainty. So we need to ensure that those top sectors of our economy that really drive this nation, I'm talking about crop production, talking about trade, talking about the telecommunication services, talking about crude oil, talking about real estate. We need to ensure that we build back certainty into all activities this week to ensure that those key activities do not get a hit.
All right, we'll be seeing more of you, during the course of election coverage. I'd like to thank you so much, Mr. Babaji.
And in the final analysis, all voters must come out. We need to have more eligible voters participating in this election.
Well, thank you. Well said.